Hi, my name is Eva Roos, and welcome to Water-Based Point Place, a land and waterscape designed for a resilient future. Point Place is a neighborhood located in the northeast corner of Toledo, Ohio, and is a community surrounded by water. Throughout the research and design process working with this neighborhood, one question became a guiding force. What if Point Place's resiliency could be designed by repairing a once inherent relationship with residents, a connection to water? Just east of I-75, Point Place narrows into a peninsula hugged by two rivers, the Ottawa River to the north and the Maumee River to the south. It extends into Maumee Bay, which quickly becomes Lake Erie. I chose to work with Point Place due to its unavoidable interactions with water and therefore all issues and opportunities related to water. Demographically, Point Place is generally whiter and wealthier than Greater Toledo. Looking into climate predictions of 2050, Point Place is predicted to receive 39.47 inches of rainfall as compared to the current average of 34 inches. Average temperature will increase to 57 degrees Fahrenheit from 49 degrees Fahrenheit. Focusing on water trends for future Point Place, water quality will worsen with warmer water temperatures, greater sediment erosion due to intense rain events, increased nutrient inputs from upstream farms, all which will increase the occurrence of harmful algal blooms. However, in 2050, the Green New Deal, a program which aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions using a lens of social justice, will likely support design interventions which reduce these climate change impacts. For Point Place, all things water-related are the natural point of focus for future problems, yet also resilient solutions. At our deep cores, people respect and care for water as our primary lifeblood. However, in Point Place, as in much of the world today, there are numerous signs that this inherent human relationship has been lost or obscured. As Point Place exists as a peninsula, it comes in close contact with the increasingly extreme rise and falls of Lake Erie water levels. As a result, the northern shoreline of Point Place is nearly completely armed with levees. This is a sign of a strained people-water relationship, as water can no longer move freely across the peninsula as Lake Erie levels flux. Harmful algal blooms have become a significant concern in recent years, causing water shutoffs in Toledo. Harmful algal blooms are the result of high concentrations of blue-green algae, microcystis, which toxifies water. Warm water and high nutrient loads cause its growth. Maumee Bay is particularly susceptible to the incredible 2,617 tons per year of phosphorus loads transported down the Maumee River and the shallow, warm waters, just 3 to 5 feet in average depth in the bay. Toxifying water to the point of water shutoffs is certainly a sign of a no longer respectful relationship between people and water. Lastly, a petition on change.org is circulating to prevent the creation of two wetlands adjacent to Point Place in Maumee Bay. As much of the region was historically marshes and wetlands, this petition signifies value sets in a community which have detached themselves from the original aquatic ecosystem character of this place. For millennia, much of northern Ohio was once the Great Black Swamp. This wetland stretched over 1 million acres, but was systematically drained for large-scale agriculture by white settlers throughout the 1800s. The Great Black Swamp once provided tremendous filtration capacity across the landscape before sending water into Maumee Bay. With now just 1.7% of its original wetland capacity and replaced by an industrial agricultural landscape, the mouth of the Maumee River in Point Place experiences enormous unfiltered sediment and nutrient loads. Point Place is historically home to members of the Ottawa Nation. For centuries, Ottawa Indians lived seasonally at Point Place, taking advantage of the plentiful fish of Maumee Bay. Much of coastal Lake Erie was once Great Lakes marsh ecosystem, though the vast majority is now gone. Ottawa Indians, in the past and present, annually harvest wild rice in such marshes. In 1837, Ottawa Indians of Point Place were violently removed to Oklahoma. Though no longer in Point Place, Ottawa Indians still practice lifeways which respect and mutualistically support local aquatic ecology. With the absence of its indigenous residents, it seems this relationship has been lost in Point Place. When designing, how can the landscape support the rebirth of such a relationship between people and water? Is there a way to bring together present-day infrastructure and traditional lifeways into a future resilient context? Research supports looking to history to plan for a resilient future. Scientist William Mitch calculated that construction and restoration of 10% of the original area of the Great Black Swamp could rid Lake Erie of harmful algal blooms. This is representative of a centralized design concept moving forward. Water-based Point Place is a neighborhood retrofit with a specific framework used to guide decision-making. Point Place's past, present, and future all continuously interact to create the place we witness today and experience in the future. Three realms must be considered at each point in time. Who are the people, what is the condition of the water, and what systems are in place on the landscape? These components of the past, present, and future continually inform each other. For example, future climate predictions inform our present actions, while our present actions will inform our future climate outcomes. Through this framework, we can see that as people and systems have changed over time in Point Place, the quality and condition of water has also. We must keep both these past and present stories at the forefront while designing for a repaired water relationship landscape of the future. The design proposal for water-based Point Place includes three distinct concepts. At Point 1, the design concept right-of-way and water is located. At Point 2, infiltration boulevards. At Point 3, cleansing levee basins. Each of these strategies are united by their goal to return water to its role as a life giver at Point Place and become a key piece of the landscape's treasured identity once again. These designs maximize positive exposure with water as it performs ecosystem services. It's curated to improve future climate resilience and embraces yet adapts current infrastructure to maintain community character. Infiltration boulevards convert spacious roadways, specifically boulevards, into landscape features which maximize infiltration of and interaction with water. One lane of each boulevard will be replaced by a linear depression planted densely with attractive native plants. Driveway bridges cross over these infiltration zones, which are prepared to fill with water during high storm events and gradually infiltrate. This reduces loads on existing gray infrastructure and makes the shifting patterns of water on the landscape visible and attractive. This section illustrates the transportation features which support decreased dependence on fossil fuels in the future, just as people once were in our past. Cars have only a single lane here, while an electric bus uses the other. Infiltration boulevards are converted to one-way streets, which also have vegetatively protected bike and walking lanes. The infiltration zone gathers the street and connected front yard stormwater. Once again, the services of the landscape are highly visible, and residents come to appreciate how water interacts with their surroundings. The second design concept, right-of-way and water, also examines ways to combine existing infrastructure to inspire innovative ways of repairing users' relationships to water. First, a study of topography and drainage patterns revealed a low relief area in Point Place where water naturally gathers, and currently few structures exist. Electrical utility lines cross through this area, begging the opportunity to combine activities of people within this full sun, non-developed zone. The design proposal is an extensive park-like landscape which first rewilds a currently highly engineered creek. Restoring some of its natural curves and expanding the size of a nearby pond, this site is ready to support greater precipitation events. An elevated boardwalk loops around the snaking creek, primarily passing through the cleared passage maintained through the utility line. In winter months, the elevated boardwalk can transform into not just a walking corridor, but a skiing path, while other users skate over the shallow pond. In the spring, the site swells with spring melt, and visitors can observe the ways in which water welcomes in a new season from the safety of the boardwalk. The right-of-way in water does not try to hide existing infrastructure. Perhaps in the future, Point Place will no longer be on the grid, yet these utility towers which run the length of the boardwalk paths and give homage to what will be then a past system. Historically and presently, Point Place is unique in its location at the apex of rich navigable water routes. With right-of-way and water, this original character is embraced yet reinterpreted. Elevated boardwalks crossing over passages of water will connect formerly disjointed subdivisions and residential streets. With a shorter distance to travel between places, people will enjoy this interactive water walk, not just for recreation, but for daily transportation as well. Finally, cleansing levee basins provide the ultimate series of water functions and experiences. This 5-tiered set of basins jut into Maumee Bay first and act as frontline combatants against harmful algal blooms. Inspired by the existing infrastructure of Point Place's levee-armed shoreline, basins are bound by newly constructed levees. The water level drops 6 inches from basin to basin, reoxygenating the hypoxic water at each level as it passes through different ecological venues, distinct to each given basin. Some basin walls house additional sustainable technology on their surface, such as a row of wind turbines. Once water exits the final levee basin, much of the excess phosphorus and nitrogen have been absorbed, and the water is well aerated. With a final 5-foot drop at the last basin, water mixes back into Maumee Bay significantly cleaner than when it entered. These levee basins become safe harbors for aquatic life when harmful algal blooms occur. Point Place residents and eager visitors will seek out the cleansing levee basin boardwalk, which boldly traverses both the levee walls and crosses over the open water of the basins themselves. Users gain unique understanding and curiosity about how the basins interact with water and a fascination towards the new aquatic sustainable technologies and ecosystems which are supported by this proposal. Additionally, the levees function as small landfills. Their internal cavities are filled with contaminated lakebed dredging materials, effectively sealed from leaking through the engineered structure. The major shipping channel which passes through the Maumee River is regularly dredged to support ship passage. The excess sludge from the next dredging event now has a nearby location to be stored. This cross-section, not drawn to scale, further describes how water moves through the cleansing levee basins. Algal-ridden water is pumped from its shallow depths, powered by floating solar panels at the first basin. These panels also serve to prevent sunlight from reaching the water, reducing the growth of algae. Next, water falls 6 inches into Basin 4, which exhibits floating wetland islands. These vegetative mats have aquatic roots which readily uptake excess nutrients. Basin 3 is an experiment invasive species harvesting pond. Phragmites have spread to much of coastal Lake Erie. If they establish in this basin, regular harvesting will be embraced to use the gathered biomass for renewable energy. Next, water passes into Basin 2 and flows through an aquaculture basin, where farmers tend their freshwater mussels. Finally, as water drops into the lowest and last basin, it is significantly clearer than when it was first pumped in. These conditions create the opportunity to establish wild rice and the activity of wild ricing by indigenous people of this region. Lastly, water exits the cleansing basins into Maumee Bay with a 5-foot drop, tall enough to provide security against unexpected water level changes, yet conveniently is the height of the average beaver dam. This is vital as it ensures that many key migratory fish, such as walleye and salmon, will be able to jump this barrier into the basins if they desire. Looking closer at the wild ricing basin, we see how members of the Ottawa Nation can use this basin to harvest wild rice. Upon construction, the City of Toledo ought to repatriate the use and management of this basin to the Ottawa Nation. As so much of these designs are inspired by the relationships and lifeways of the original residents of this landscape, this ought to be just the first of many repatriation actions in this community in years to come. Overall, the cleansing levee basins successfully improve water quality issues associated with harmful algal blooms through filtration, uptake of excess nutrients, cooling water with deeper depths, shading water through structures and plants, and aerating water as it passes over levees. These functions constantly co-occur with the exploration of people on elevated boardwalks, introducing them to the vastness and possibility of the aquatic world of Point Place. A renewed appreciation and respect for water begins to repair, just as the cleansing basins repair water quality. Moving forward, water-based Point Place embraces where water was once the problem and transforms the landscape to highlight water as a community medicine, identity, and inspiration. Thanks for listening.